Hi, welcome to Tech Tuesday. My name is Brett Holmes. I'm the machinist coordinator here. We're going to show you 7 tips to run a first article part on an NC machine. First, we get drafting from our design graphics. We get a blueprint. Once we go from our blueprint, then we're ready to actually machine. So our tips for the day for you are going to be: first, when you load a part, we want to make sure that the part is actually set the way it's supposed to be and it's nice and secure. So we set our part in. We snug it down a little bit, and then we're going to take a little rubber mallet and smack it down. Then tighten it some more. Your second tip, this is one of the most critical ones, is you always pull the vise handle away from the part that you're running. So now we're set to ready to run on this side. Of course, we've done some other things. We've been able to set the machine up, design what we needed, and get the CAM software to run. So our next tip is, when you load a part, you need to make sure that when you load from your software or from your flash drive that you have the actual program that you're looking for. In this case, we're going to use the program. This is a good program. The second thing, that's one tip. Your other one, to make sure that you have the right one, is always graph your part. Always make sure that you have a graph. This way you can catch if it's the wrong part. By looking at it, here's our part, and when we run our graph screen, we are going to make sure that it looks like the part. Now, when it graphs, it should mildly look like that part. That tells us that 2 things have happened. We have the right program in, and we're ready to go from there. Okay. Our 4th and 5th tips for this, our biggest ones become critical. When you start talking about running machines, you need to make sure that you understand cutting speeds and feeds, because it's very critical to run quality parts. The other is what they call cutting fluid. Cutting fluid is a way to make sure that you have chip evacuation as well as life of the tool. Our last one, and this is one of the best ones. So when you run a machine, to verify that you have the right work offset, we are going to use G54, which is just an offset number. What that does is, so we know where the start position for the first cut is going to be. To double check that, we send it in our manual mode, and then we hit the cycle start. What that's going to do is, it says G00 is a rapid move to G54 location of X0, Y0. It's going to send the machine to these 2 numbers. That says, okay, I'm ready to run. Now it's at my location, I'm ready to go. Okay? There's 2 other things you can do to make it kind of comfortable for you if you've never ran one before. You can also change in the offset and add a different length. So if I went 1.0 here and said yes, what that does is says, okay, everything that I've touched off, it's going to run 1 inch above the part. So you can dry run it and run parts without cutting things off. We've already dry run, so we're kind of ready to go. So we know everything's ready. So we're going to go back to 0, and I'm going to be ready to run the part. When you run a part, make sure your doors are closed, and we always suggest that you run, because you've never ran before, that your rapid overrides are down to about 50%, just so you have a little more control. When you run a part, your 2 parts are your green buttons, your go, your red buttons, your stop. Always keep your fingers on both buttons. You can stop at any time. We'll run it without cutting fluid in this case, just so you can actually see it running. I can even open your door so it gives you a better look. And we're just going to run that so that you can see it running without cutting fluid. But you can kind of see how the chips are kind of catching on that cover. With cutting fluid, it won't do that.